Hello, hello, Pam with Beyond Movement Improvement. Today I wanted to talk about intentional living and what that looks like. When we are intentionally living, we are being proactive in shaping our life and making deliberate choices aligned with our values and living in alignment with our priorities and our goals. So, the first step, as you can imagine, when living intentionally or just even creating your intentions would be to identify what your values are and what your priorities are. So I'll give you an example of what my top three values are and how I can apply these to my whole entire life when it comes to relationships, when it comes to career and business, when it comes to my own mental health and self-care. The number one is going to be integrity. How I show up for one thing is how I show up for everything. Integrity means to me following through with what you say you're going to do. So if you schedule an appointment, you're going to show up to that appointment. When you say you're going to be there for someone, you're going to be there for someone. When you are planning a fitness routine and you have specific goals, you are going to show up every day and apply yourself, whether it's a great day or whether it's a shit day. And you're going to apply yourself. So integrity is number one for me. Number two is going to be flexibility. I understand that life happens. Circumstances arise to where some things are completely out of your control, and it's really all about how you respond to those circumstances. So the act of being flexible, for example, last week I had two clients just drop off, and that's okay. I'm flexible. I can now work within that time doing all this filming content for you guys. But flexibility, it's about how do you adapt when things don't go your way. You have to remain flexible. And my number three value is empathy. So when you're going through a tough time, I'm not referring to sympathy, I'm referring to empathy. Being there with your clients on their level and offering an open ear to listen to what they have to say. And you can always apply things later, but again, being there on that same level with whoever you're talking with or whoever you're interacting with. My roommate has mentioned something called an emotional bank account. So for example, say a client couldn't make it into their session. I drove like 40 minutes to go see this client. And they said, oh, well, my daughter's sick and blah, blah, blah. So I empathize. Oh, okay, well, if I were sick, like maybe in 2 weeks, like I would want that client to not be pissed at me, but to empathize with me, you know? So that's where my three values come in is integrity, flexibility, and empathy. So now it's time to develop yours. Once you've identified your top three, I would say core values, it becomes easier to learn what your priorities are, and it becomes easier to formulate your intentions. Now, your intentions are going to be your deep down purpose, your why, your root of who you want to be and become that person who is more in alignment with yourself. Your goals are your how, it's your approach. It's going to be, how do I get to X result, we'll say. So your goal is your how. It's going to be a lot shorter term, and you're going to divide it up into, again, like little short-term bouts until you've reached one goal. Then it's time to go on to the next. It's your plan of action. Once you start thinking and believing there's things that need to change in your life to improve yourself, it's really important that you remain mindful and present. So for example, let's take nutrition into account when it comes to intentionally eating foods. For me personally, I'm trying to address my hormones and I'm trying to eat an abundance of nutrients, micronutrients, such as your vitamins and your minerals, and foods with colors to help basically my internal organs and systems all function and run as smoothly as they can. So every morning I make this smoothie, or my intentional morning routine, and I'm very intentional about the foods and the nutrients that I put in my body because, again, I am a little more self-aware, I feel, of like physiology, like within my body, and like, okay, what do I need to do if I am not feeling well? Okay, well, maybe eat some more fruits. So within my smoothie, I have a banana, which intentionally it has your potassium. It is known to help with your brain health. It is known to help like deep down to a cellular level, like help all of your cells and organs function optimally. And that also goes for the blueberries that I add into my smoothie, and the dragon fruit and the coconut water. It really balances my electrolytes to the point where I actually feel super energized now in the morning after drinking the shake every morning. So being intentional, not just with your thinking, but like with what you're putting inside your body. And that comes from your thinking. Okay, so I know I'm kind of sluggish in the morning. Maybe I'm missing out on some essential nutrients that my body needs in order to function. So just being mindful and aware and present of basically the stuff that you're putting inside of your body. This can also apply to things you put on the outside of your body, like your makeup, your skincare, your hair products, your everything, your toothpaste, your deodorant. Like, it all has stuff in it. So make sure to be mindful and present when it comes to checking your ingredients, whether it be stuff that you're putting on yourself or inside yourself, which is super important. So different ways that you can apply mindfulness to your routine or your day-to-day living or even thinking is a few ways. So one is you can be journaling, which is literally writing out your thoughts. It's maybe being creative with your words, but for me, I use journaling to kind of dump out all of the thoughts that I have and like, how am I perceiving these thoughts? Am I judging these thoughts? Am I judging myself? Am I forming healthy perceptions of what happened for my day-to-day living? Another thing you can do is you can meditate. Meditation allows you to really just focus. For me personally, I focus on my breath and my breath only. If thoughts arise, that's cool. I let them come, I let them be, and then I let them go. I don't force anything with my thoughts anymore. I just acknowledge them and come to peace with what I'm thinking. And it took a very long time to do. But again, being mindful of the way that you are thinking or perceiving of things. Sometimes it's just necessary to take a step back and be by yourself. So that way you're not picking up other people's energies or other people's perceptions or opinions. You have that time to formulate and digest what other people are throwing at you, and then you have the freedom to really pick and choose from your perception how you want to digest that. So from there, let's stay on the topic of perception for a second, and let's talk about reframing your mindset when things go wrong or when things or circumstances become super negative and become just out of your control. So when things become so out of your control to the point where you're just frustrated, something you can do is reframe your mind to ask yourself, okay, what is this thing or this frustration teaching me? Where is it coming from? Where is it stemming from? What is it teaching me? What needs to change on my end to not make these circumstances arise again? So you're reframing your mind from a limited or from a limiting and a woe is me, a very victim mindset, to a very solution-oriented mindset. So reframing your thoughts can really help with your perceptions as well in the moment. If you are surrounded by people, if you don't have time to be by yourself, you can still be mindful of, okay, these people's energies are impacting my emotions. And are these emotions my emotions, or are these the people I'm surrounding myself with? Are these people's emotions? So that's something to take into account as well.